Deep in the heart of the Pacific Northwest, where ancient forests whisper secrets to the wind, lived a man named Silas. Silas wasn't just a woodsman, he was a hunter, and a damn good one at that. For him, the forest was a place of challenge, a test of skill and survival. He'd tracked everything from elusive deer to formidable bears, his reputation as solid as the towering redwoods. But there was one legend that always gnawed at the back of his mind, a whisper that turned into an obsession: Bigfoot. For years, Silas had dismissed the stories as campfire tales, drunken ramblings from folks who'd spent a little too long in the wilderness. But then he started seeing things. A footprint too large to be a bear, a strange, mournful howl that wasn't a wolf, a fleeting shadow that moved with unnatural speed. His skepticism slowly eroded, replaced by a hunter's curiosity. This wasn't just another animal. This was the ultimate prize, the creature of myth. Proving its existence would make him a legend. So he began his quest. Days turned into weeks. He meticulously studied maps, followed broken branches and faint tracks, and spent countless nights listening to the forest's symphony, hoping for that one dissonant note. He equipped himself with the best gear, a high-powered rifle with a state-of-the-art scope, thermal imagers, and sound amplifiers. He was no longer just a hunter, he was a monster hunter, and he was ready for his trophy. One crisp autumn morning, as mist clung to the forest floor like a ghostly blanket, Silas found what he'd been searching for. It was a fresh track, massive and impossibly human-like, pressed deep into the damp earth. His heart pounded in his chest, a drumbeat of adrenaline and anticipation. This was it. He moved with a silence honed by years of practice, every sense on high alert. The forest was eerily quiet, as if holding its breath. He followed the trail up a steep, moss-covered ridge. The tracks led to a small clearing, dominated by a fallen giant of a sequoia. As he peered through the dense ferns, his breath caught in his throat. There, nestled against the mossy trunk of the fallen tree, was a creature unlike anything he had ever seen. It was massive, covered in thick, dark fur, its broad shoulders slumped as it sat with its back to him. It was Bigfoot. The Sasquatch instinct took over. This was the moment he had rehearsed in his mind 1,000 times. Slowly, silently, Silas raised his rifle. The weight felt familiar and reassuring in his hands. He centered the crosshairs on the creature's massive back, his finger tightening on the trigger. The world seemed to shrink, focusing down the barrel of his gun. This single shot would change everything. It would vindicate his obsession and etch his name into history. But just as he was about to pull the trigger, something small moved at the base of the giant creature. Silas hesitated, lowering his rifle just an inch to get a better look. Peeking out from behind the larger figure was a smaller version, a baby. It couldn't have been more than 3 feet tall, with the same shaggy fur, but with wide, innocent, and surprisingly intelligent eyes. It looked around with a child's curiosity, utterly unaware of the danger lurking just yards away. Silas froze, his hunter's focus shattered. This wasn't a monster, it was a mother protecting her child. He watched as the baby stumbled forward on clumsy feet, exploring a patch of wildflowers. It then turned and looked directly towards Silas's hiding spot. Its eyes weren't filled with fear, but with a startling, profound curiosity. It took a few hesitant steps towards him. The mother Bigfoot let out a low, gentle rumble, a sound not of aggression, but of parental concern. She nudged her young one with a hand that was astonishingly human-like. Silas's own hands, still clutching the rifle, began to tremble. His mind was racing. He'd come here to hunt a monster, a myth. But what he saw was a family, a scene of tender care that mirrored his own memories of being a father. Then the unbelievable happened. The baby Bigfoot, ignoring its mother's soft call, continued its wobbly approach towards Silas. It stopped just a few feet from his hiding place in the ferns. It tilted its head, its dark eyes seeming to look right through the foliage, right into Silas's soul. Slowly, hesitantly, it reached out its small, furry hand. It wasn't an act of aggression or fear. It was an offering, a gesture of pure, unadulterated curiosity and trust. In that moment, Silas saw everything differently. He looked from the small hand reaching out to him to the powerful rifle in his own hands. One was a tool of connection, the other a tool of destruction. The creature he'd been hunting, the monster from the legends, was simply a being trying to live, to raise its young in peace. He wasn't looking at a trophy to be mounted on a wall. He was looking at a child reaching for his hand. Slowly, carefully, Silas lowered his rifle completely, letting it rest on the damp ground beside him. The metallic clink seemed deafening in the silent woods. The baby Bigfoot startled for a second, then its gaze softened again. Silas didn't move. He just stayed there, hidden, his heart aching with a profound mix of shame and wonder. He had come to the forest to conquer a myth, but instead, the myth had conquered him. The mother let out another low call, this time a bit more insistent. The baby looked back at its mother, then one last time at Silas's hiding spot, before turning and toddling back to the safety of her arms. The mother scooped up her child, held it close, and with a final lingering look in Silas's direction, she disappeared into the thicket, moving with a silent grace that belied her size. They vanished as quickly as they had appeared, leaving Silas alone in the clearing. Silas sat there for a long time, the cold steel of his rifle a stark contrast to the warmth that had bloomed in his chest. The forest no longer felt like a challenge to be overcome. It felt sacred, a sanctuary. He had been given a glimpse into a world he never knew existed, a world of gentleness and family that lived just beyond the veil of human understanding. He picked up his rifle, but it felt different now, heavier. It was no longer a symbol of his skill, but a reminder of the choice he had almost made. He ejected the cartridge from the chamber and put it in his pocket. It would serve as his new trophy, not a symbol of a kill, but a symbol of a life he chose to spare, a moment of connection that changed him forever. Silas walked out of the forest a different man. He never spoke of what he saw that day, not in detail. The world didn't need proof of a monster. It needed more people who were willing to see the humanity in the unknown. His rifle was cleaned and put away, not to be used for hunting legends anymore. Instead, he took up a new hobby, photography. He still roamed the deep woods, but now he sought to capture its beauty, not to conquer its mysteries. And sometimes, in the quietest parts of the forest, he'd stop and listen, hoping to hear that low, gentle rumble once more, not as a hunter, but as a friend. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the edge of our known world. We'll see you in the next one.